call is now being recorded.
Okay. So today we will start with the chapter number 4 of the industrial engineering, that is work measurement. Okay. So the concept related to the work measurement, somewhat we have discussed in the chapter number 1. Because the chapter number 1 is totally basic chapter in which what is the overall picture of that particular industrial engineering is there, that we have studied in the chapter number 1. That is, we have studied one concept which is called as a work study. So the work study is one of the concepts of the industrial engineering which is furtherly divided into the two types. That is, first one is called as a method study and second one is called as a work measurement. Because what is our requirement in the industry? So whatever the number of operations we are using to convert your raw material into the finished goods, whatever the number of operators we are using, maybe some unskilled operators are there, some skilled operators are there, some standard machineries are there, some standard equipments are there, we are using some material handling equipments. So what we are using all the sources in the industry because we have to achieve the productivity. Therefore, in order to achieve the productivity, the concept of work study, it plays very important role. And after that, that work study concept is furtherly divided into the two types. The first one is called as a method study. So method study is one of the first concept and second concept is called as a work measurement. So the chapter number 2 in detail we have discussed which is called as a method study. So method study is one of the important part of the work study, and the second, the work measurement is the second part of that particular work study. That means the concept of the work study is furtherly divided into the two types. That is, first one is called as a method study, which we have discussed in detail as a chapter number 2, because name of the chapter number 2 is called as a method study, and the second is called as a work measurement. But what is the basic difference between the method study and the work measurement? So the method study means we have to eliminate the unnecessary operations. So the number of operations we are performing, that means if I have to convert my raw material into the finished goods, so to convert that particular material, so the number of operations I am performing, maybe I am starting with the, if I will take the example of the lathe machine. So initially I am performing the turning operation, then facing operation, then as per my requirement, I am reducing the diameter. That means again I am performing the turning operation. Then as per my requirement, again I am performing some champering operation is there, some gluing operation is there, threading operations are there, then taper operation is there. Like that, so many operations we are performing on that particular product, and finally we'll convert that particular raw material into the finished goods. But while performing such types of the operation, some unnecessary operations are also present. So those who are not required. Some unnecessary operations are automatically generated when we are performing the operations. If I have to eliminate that particular unnecessary operations, I will implement the concept of the method study. But in case of a method study, I am not thinking about how much amount of time is required for drilling operation, piecing operation, threading operation, gluing operation, champering operation. Only I am thinking about I have to eliminate the unnecessary operations. Whatever the ineffective operations are generated, that I have to eliminate, and that we are going to study, or that we have studied already in the chapter number 2, which is called as a method study. But the work measurement concept is totally different. The name itself suggests that work measurement means whatever the task we are performing, whatever the work we are performing, that task or that work we have to go for the measurement. Whatever the work I am performing in industry, or whatever the task it is given to you, or whatever the work it is given to you, maybe in our day-to-day application, number of activities we are performing. For example, if I have to go from one location to the another location, before leaving from one location, what we are thinking, I have to reach to that particular place within 1 hour. That means already in advance we have decided that particular time. That means in 1 hour I have to reach to that particular place. If you take the example of, if I have to travel from Pandharpur to Solapur, so when you are traveling with maybe with the bike, or whenever we are traveling with another private vehicle, what we are thinking, I have to reach in that particular Solapur within 1 hour, or 1 hour and 30 minutes. Just so that means before starting your work, before starting your traveling, you are deciding the time. So that particular concept is called as a work measurement. So this work measurement concept is mostly implemented in the industry, because whatever the number of operations we are performing, by using the concept of method study, I have eliminated all the unnecessary operations. But whatever the standard operations are there that we are performing, to that particular standard operations we have to go for the measurement of the time. So if I am performing drilling, if I am performing facing, turning, chamfering, so many operations we are performing. To each and every operations, we have to go for the time measurement. If I will measure the time of each and every operation, then I can calculate the total standard time required to convert that raw material into the finished goods. For example, let's take an example. One job is there, and on that particular job, I have to perform 4 operations. First is facing. So facing operations I have to perform for the 10 minutes. Then second, turning. Again, the turning operations I have to perform for the 10 minutes. Then I have to perform another threading operation. Again, threading operations I have to perform for 10 minutes. And last operations I have to perform as a chamfering operation. Again, I have to perform it for the 5 minutes. That means first 3 operations I have performed for the 10 minutes. That means total time is 10 plus 10 plus 10, 30. And last operations I have performed for the 5 minutes. That means total 35 minutes operations I have to perform. That means directly or at the end, I can say that the total 4 operations I have to perform on that particular job, and that 4 operations are taking the time near about 35 minutes. That means that 35 minutes is my standard time to convert that particular raw material into the finished goods. So that particular concept, whatever the time measuring is there for each and every operation, that time measuring concept is called as a work measurement. That means whatever the time performing in the industry, whatever, or if I am working on any type of machine or any type of equipment, or whenever I am working at each and every workstation, in order to complete that particular my work, if I have to go for the measurement, how much amount of time is required to convert particular raw material into finished goods? How much amount of time is required to convert that particular raw material into the finished goods? That concept is called as a work measurement. And this concept of this particular chapter, it also plays very important role in order to increase the productivity of your industry. Therefore, method studies and the work measurement, these two concepts are derived from the work study concept, but the method study concept is applicable to eliminate the unnecessary operations, and the work measurement concept is applicable to eliminate unnecessary time or the ineffective time which is obtained during the manufacturing processes. So this is the basic idea related to the work measurement. So this is the content of this particular chapter, that in that we are going to discuss about the basic definition, then objective of the work measurement, then techniques used for the work measurement. So which types of the techniques we are using for the work measurement. So in that we are going to discuss about the time study technique, then stopwatch method is there, then concept of the performance rating. So whenever the operators are converting that particular raw material into the finished goods, we have to go for checking the performance rating of that particular operator, because sometimes some of the manually operated machines are there, some semi-automatic machines are there, even some fully automatic machines are also there. But in that also, by somewhat the human is required or the operator is required, at least to start the machine, to stop the machine, to hold the job, to remove the job. That means without operator, without worker, it is not possible to start the machine. Therefore, whenever or wherever the operators are required, we have to go for checking their performance rating. So that also we are going to discuss how to check the performance rating, or how to check the performance of that particular operator, whether he is working in the effective manner or not. Then alarms. Different types of alarms are also we are going to discuss, because whenever we are working on any type of machine, it is not possible to work continuously. Your total working time is 9 hours, but in that particular 9 hours, some relaxation is also given to that particular operator. That means if he is continuously works for the 2 hours, after 2 hours, that worker can go for taking the breakfast, that worker can go for drinking the water, or maybe some emergency work is coming. So such types of the allowances are also provided. So in that we are going to discuss different types of the allowances, that is relaxation allowance is there, interference allowance is there, contingency allowance there, then policy allowances are there. So there are different types of the allowances that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. That means if I have to go for drinking the water, then that drinking of the water, where it is to be considered, whether it is relaxation allowance or interference allowance or contingency allowance. Then sometimes whenever we are working on any machine, immediately there is a breakage of the tool, or maybe some accidents are happening. If that breakage of the tool is taking place, so at that time we have to stop that particular machine, we have to take the new tool, we have to hold on that particular machine, and then we have to start the machine once again. But due to that particular tool breakage, you have stop your total operation. That means such types of the allowances are also considered, because some of the operations are there or some of the machines are there where again and again the tool breakage is taking place. So in such conditions, what we have to do? If that machine is continuously work for the 2 hours without breakage, you have to take the new tool and we have to hold on that particular machine. Again, for after next 2 hours, again I will take the new tool. So such types of the allowances in order to changing the tool, changing the coolant, changing the oil, or if any operator has to go for the drinking the water. So for such types of the activities, that allowances are to be provided. So that different types of allowances also we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. Then calculation of the standard time. So here we are going to solve some of the numericals related to the standard time calculations. So whatever the task we are performing, whatever the task, whatever the operations, or whatever the job we are performing, to that particular job or to that particular task, we have to go for the calculation of the standard time. So there are some 2-3 formulas are there that we are going to discuss. The formulas required to find out the standard time, and some of the examples, industrial examples also we are going to discuss, and how to go for the calculation of the standard time, that related to calculation part or the problems also we are going to solve in this particular chapter. Then another important part is related to the work sampling. This is also one of the important techniques which is implemented in the work measurement concept. So that work sampling, its need and its procedure. What is the procedure of the work sampling? That also we are going to discuss. And the last important point, that is predetermined motion time study. That is PMTS. In short, it called it as a PMTS. That is predetermined motion time study, because the concept of work measurement, it is also called as a time study. The concept of work measurement, it is also called as a time study, because here in this particular chapter, we are focusing only on measurement of time. Here we are not focusing on the eliminate the unnecessary operations. Here we are focusing the time required for each and every operation and the time required to complete your task. Therefore, this work measurement is also called as a time study, and in that we are going to discuss about the predetermined motion time study. Motion time study means whatever the movement of the operator is taking place from one location to the another location, whatever the movement of the job or the raw material is taking place from one workstation to the another workstation. So how much amount of time is required to transfer your job from one location to the another location, or how much amount of time is required to complete the task assigned to that particular operator or the worker, that we are going to discuss in this particular predetermined motion time study. So this is the overall syllabus or overall content of this particular chapter, that is work measurement. So one by one we will start with this particular chapter. Now I have explained the work study. So this is the main source of the industrial engineering, work study. So this is the basic concept. That work study is having the two techniques. The first one is called as a method study and second one is called as a work measurement. But this concept of the method study already we have discussed as a chapter number 2 in detail. We have discussed the concept of the method study, in which we have discussed about the different types of charts. Maybe operation process chart is there, two-handed process chart is there, some another multiple activity charts are there. Then we have discussed about the string diagram, then templates, multiple activity charts. So many different types of the charts we have discussed, in which we have eliminated all the unnecessary operations. So what is the use of method study? To eliminate all the unnecessary operations and develop more economical method. But in this particular concept of method study, we have not think about how much amount of time is required to perform the operation, or how much amount of time is required to convert the raw material into the finished goods. So only we are thinking about eliminate the unnecessary operations and develop the new method. But whatever the new method we are developing by using the concept of method study, for that new method, how much amount of time is required? The previous method is taking the time 1 hour, but after the development, whatever the new method is developed, whether that new method is taking time more than 1 hour or less than 1 hour, that we have to check now, and that will be checked by using the second concept, which is called as a work measurement. Therefore, the work measurement concept is also called as a time study in which we are measuring the time required to perform each and every operation and each and every task. Therefore, the work measurement is related to design of specific standard time for developed standard process. So whatever the standard process we are developed from the concept of method study. Standard process we have developed from the concept of method study, but for that new method, how much amount of standard time is required, that we are measuring or that we are calculating by using the work measurement. If the method study concept is not available, then it is not possible to develop the new method. Therefore, the method study concept is applicable to develop the new method, but for that new method, how much amount of standard time is required, that we are measuring by using the work measurement. Therefore, method study and the work measurement, these both concepts are correlated with each other. While developing the existing process, this factor will also consider. While developing existing process, sometimes we are using the new method because your product is new, but sometimes we are doing the modification in the older product and already we are having your previous existing process, already manufacturing process is developed, but that manufacturing process is having some of the drawbacks. So in order to remove that particular drawbacks, what I am doing, I am going to develop that particular existing process. Means while developing the existing process, this work measurement plays also very important role. Even you are calculating the time for the new method, or even you are calculating the time for existing method, in both the concepts or in both the applications, this work measurement plays very important role for the calculation of time. Therefore, the work measurement is used to determine the standard time for doing the operation or work. In simple language, the work measurement is used to determine standard time for doing the operations and the work. So whatever the operations we are doing, maybe number of operations or only one operations. Whatever the work is assigned to you or whatever the work we are performing, whatever the work is performing, whatever the number of operations we are doing to that particular operation and to that particular work, I have to calculate the standard time. That concept is called as a work measurement. So these are the two important concepts which are derived from the work study. One is called as a method study and another is called as a work measurement. And now this is the one block diagram through which you can easily understood that. That is, this is the first concept, that is work study. Okay, that work study is furtherly divided into the two types. That is, first one is a method study which is used to eliminate the unnecessary operations and develop the new method. And the second is called as a work measurement which is used to determine the standard time for doing the operations or standard time for the new method which is coming from the method study. And once the method study concept is implemented, after the method study we have to implement the work measurement. And if these two concepts, method study and the work measurement, we are implementing in the industry, there will be the higher productivity. Therefore, the concept of method study, in addition to that, the concept of work measurement, these are plays very important role in your industry in order to increase your productivity. So this is the two concepts which are represented with the help of block diagram. The same concept we have discussed in the chapter number 2 also in the method study. But after the method study, how the work measurement is important, that you will understood from this particular figure. And this is the work study procedure we have discussed in detail. Work study procedure. So up to the step number 4. This is the procedure of the method study. And from step number 5 to the step number 8, this is the method or this is the procedure for the work measurement. Because method study means we have to eliminate the unnecessary operations. So what is the step number we indicate? Select means we have to select that method where we have to go for the modification. Then record. So whatever the new method we are developing, whatever the existing method we are using for the modification purpose, initially we have to record that particular technique or we have to take the result, previous result. If I have implemented the new method or if I have done the modification in the existing processes, so whatever the previous results are there, to that particular method, that we are going to record in this particular second step. Examine. We have to conduct the examination. Why we have to go for modification? Where we have to go for modification? How we have to go for the modification? That some questions will be asked. That means we have to go for the examination step, and the step number 4 indicates that after eliminating the unnecessary operations, we have to develop the new method. That means step number 1 to 4, it is applicable for the method study, where we have to go for the eliminate the unnecessary operations. But after the step number 4, whatever the new method we have developed, to that particular new method we have to go for the time measurement. Therefore, from step number 5 to step number 8, 5 to 8, it will be applicable for the work measurement only, because from step number 5 to step number 8, here we are going to measure the time required to perform the operation, or the time required to perform the operation by using the new method, which is coming from the step number 4. At step number 4, you will get the new method, and after the step number 4, we are going to go for the measurement. Now means here step number 5 clear cut, it is indicating that measurement, how much amount of time is required to perform that particular job by using the new method, which is coming from the step number 4. Then after the measurement, we have to define that particular method in front of management. So whatever the new method we have developed, it is not possible to implement directly at the production department. So we have to represent that particular new method in front of higher authority or in front of management. If the management will give the green signal, then we can install that particular new method in your industry. And after that, once the installation is taking place, we have to maintain that particular method continuously in order to achieve your productivity. So this is the step number 1 to step number 8. This is the total procedure of the work study. This is not a procedure of method study, or this is not a procedure of work measurement. This total procedure represents the procedure of the work study, where from step 1 to 4, it is applicable for the method study, and from step 5 to 8, it is applicable for the work measurement. So this is the total procedure. Now we will go for our main chapter, that is definition of the work measurement. So related to that, already we have discussed about the definition of the work measurement. Simple definition: the work measurement is defined as, it is used to determine the standard time for operation and the work. Whatever the operations we are performing, whatever work we are doing, to that particular work, to that particular operation, how much amount of time is required, calculation of that particular time is called as a work measurement. Or whatever the standard process coming from the method study concept, the standard process or standard procedure which is coming from that particular method study concept, how much amount of time is required to that particular standard process, that time we are going to measure by using the work measurement concept. If the method study concept is not applicable, then it is not possible to implement the work measurement concept. Therefore, along with the work measurement, the concept of method study, it also plays very, very important role. Therefore, once again we will discuss, work measurement is the application techniques designed to establish the standard time for an activity by qualified worker at the defined level of the performance. So the work measurement, it is one of the techniques which is used to measure the standard time for an activity of qualified worker. So some standard machines are there where we have to provide only qualified workers. Let's take an example of your CNC and VMC machine. So in the CNC and VMC machines, there is some programming is there. Maybe your G code is there or M code is there. So which type of the operators we have to provide on the CNC and VMC? The person who is capable to perform or to go for the programming of the G code and the M code. If unskilled operators we are providing on the CNC and VMC machine, so it is not possible to operate that particular machine by that unskilled operator. Therefore, whatever the task or whatever the activities we are performing by the qualified worker, we have to measure the time required to that qualified worker to perform its activity at defined level of performance. This is very important. Some operators, some skilled operators are also not performing their works properly. Maybe sometimes he's taking more time. Maybe due to that, if he is not working in the proper manner, if sometimes there is a breakage of the tool is taking places, breakage of the job is taking places because he is not performing his work in the reasonable level. Therefore, whenever we have to go for the time measurement of the qualified worker, that worker has to perform his task in good manner. Therefore, we can measure the standard time required or standard time required to perform that particular job. Therefore, in work measurement concept, this is the standard techniques, or it is one of the procedure which is used to determine the standard time required for the qualified worker where he is performing the activity or where he is performing the task. But while measuring that particular standard time, it is to be measured at the defined level of the performance. That means without any breakage of the tool, without taking any break, without any breakage of any types of components. So if I will measure that particular standard time, that concept is called as a work measurement. And the second definition is standard time can be defined as the time taken an average experienced worker for the job with the provision for the delays beyond the worker control. So standard time is the time which is to be calculated for the experienced worker. The standard time is the time which is calculated for the experienced worker if he is performing any type of job, and during performing that particular task, there is a provision of delays. Provision of the delays means we have to provide the different types of allowances. So if the task is assigned to any worker, while performing that particular task, we have to provide some allowances also. Means in between while performing the task, if the operator wants to go for the drinking the water, if the operator wants to go for the washrooms, if the operator wants to change the coolant of that particular machine, if the operator wants to change the oil of that particular machine. So such types of the unavoidable tasks are there, which also we have to consider in the standard time. Therefore, whenever we are calculating the standard time will be calculated by considering the different types of allowance. So the time required for the operation we can calculate, and how much allowance is allowed. For example, if I have to complete my job in 1 hour, okay, in that particular 1 hour, the 45 minutes are assigned to perform the operations only. The 45 minutes are assigned to perform the operations only, and remaining 50 minutes are given as an allowance, because that 15 minutes that worker can be used for drinking the waters. Maybe if he has to go for the washrooms, he can go. If he has to change the coolant of that particular machine, if there is a breakage of the tool is taking place, then I have to replace it. If I have to change the oil of the machines, so all such types of the unavoidable tasks he can perform in that particular 15 minutes. Therefore, whenever we are calculating the standard time, during that particular calculation of standard time, we have to consider the time required for the operations, and we have to consider different types of allowances also. And calculation or the addition of time required for the operation and plus allowance, that concept is called as a standard time. Therefore, whenever we are calculating the standard time, we are having the formula for the standard time calculation. That is, standard time is equal to normal time plus the allowances. So normal time means the time required to perform the operations only, and in that normal time, if I will add the allowance, so the addition of normal time plus allowances are called as a standard time. So the work measurement starts with the investigation and elimination of effective time. How much amount of effective time is required to perform that particular task. So that effective time will be calculated by considering all the types of allowances. So it is not possible to work continuously for 2 or 3 hours. In between that particular 2 and 3 hours, we have to provide some different allowances in the form of changing the coolant, in the form of changing the oil, in the form of drinking the water. Maybe we are taking the short break for the breakfast, lunch. So all that particular allowances we are considering in that particular standard time. Therefore, the work measurement it starts with investigation and eliminating in the effective time and providing the basic procedure for the method study. So whatever the new method is coming from the method study, for that particular new method only we are calculating the standard time. Therefore, the concept of work measurement and the method study are both are correlated with each other. Okay, so these are the basic definitions. Then objectives. So here the first objective is reveal the existence of the ineffective time any. So if any ineffective time is present in that particular standard time, the elimination of that particular ineffective time means we have to implement the concept of work measurement. For example, if it has been analyzed that if I have to work on lathe machine and on that particular lathe machines I have to do a one job, and as per the standard we have calculated that that job can be completed. That job can be completed in 2 hours. That job can be completed 2 hours by considering all the types of allowances. That means in between, if you take the example of lathe machine, sometimes we have to change the tool. Okay, it is a requirement. Sometimes we have to change the tool. Sometimes we have to change the position of the job. Sometimes we have to take that particular tail stock from front side to the bottom side. So like that, so many required operations we have to perform on the lathe machine. By considering all such types of the operations, I have decided that, or it has been identified that the 2 hours are required to perform that particular job. But whenever I am starting that job and my job is completed in 2 hours and 30 minutes. What is the requirement? The job should be completed in 2 hours only, because as per the requirement, by considering all the types of allowances, it should be completed in 2 hours. But that operator or that worker has taken extra 30 minutes. That means that 30 minutes extra means this is the ineffective time which is unnecessarily generated in that particular lathe machine. So to reduce that particular extra 30 minutes, this work measurement concept plays very important role. That means your job can be completed in 2 hours only. In that particular 2 hours, I have considered normal time also. Also, I have considered all the types of allowances also. But then also 30 minutes extra required. That means that 30 minutes are extra ineffective time which is unnecessarily generated. And that ineffective time, extra 30 minutes I have to eliminate. This is the major objective of the work measurement. Then what is the second objective? Set the standard time for carrying out the specified job and the standard output level. There are two major objectives. First objective is eliminate the unnecessary time or eliminate the ineffective time. And second objective is to calculate the standard time for the specified job. The method which is coming from the method study, the process which is coming from the method study concept to that particular method. If I have to go for the calculation of standard time, at that time also the concept of work measurement plays very important role. Means if I have to eliminate the unnecessary time, ineffective time, then also I can use the work measurement concept. If I have to calculate the standard time, then also I have to use the work measurement concept. So these are the major two objectives of the work measurement. Then it is having some another application. That is, first application is to evaluate the worker performance by comparing his output with standard performance. Work measurement, it also plays very important related to the evaluating the worker performance. Now I have given the example. On lathe machines, you have to complete your job in 2 hours only, but that worker has taken the extra 30 minutes. Means the worker performance is not as per the requirement. The worker performance is not as per the requirement. But if another worker can complete that particular job in 1 hour and 40 minutes only, in 1 hour 40 minutes only, that means 15 minutes are remaining. 15 minutes are remaining means we can say that the performance of that particular second worker is very good, because within time he has completed his task. That means within time he has converted that particular raw material into the finished goods. Means the performance of that particular worker is very good. But what about the first worker? He has taken the extra 30 minutes. That means if I have to go for checking the performance of that particular operator, that can be checked by using this particular work measurement concept. Then second, eliminating man, material and machinery requirements. This is very important. So man, material and the machinery. So sometimes some of the operations the man is not required. That machine can be automatically perform the operation of that particular man. Sometimes the material is also not required. Sometimes during operation process some extra material removal is to be taking place. So this is also should be avoided. Machinery. In some of the operations some standard machines are not required. We can perform number of operations on one machine only. So second machine is not required. Therefore, eliminating the requirements of the man, material and machinery. For that purpose also, the concept of work measurement plays very important role. Then to determine the available capacity for the given level of the workforce and the machinery. So point number 2 and 3 are correlated with each other to determine the available capacity. So how much amount of workforce is available? That means if I have to manufacture the 100 jobs or if I have to manufacture the 1000 jobs today. So in order to manufacture that number of jobs for 2 days only, so how much amount of workforce is available? Means how much amount of skilled operators are there, how much amount of unskilled operators are there, how much number of laborers are there. If I have to go for that particular measurement, again the work measurement plays very important. In addition to that, machinery. If I have to manufacture 1000 jobs today and only 2 machineries are available with me, so it is not possible to manufacture that number of jobs by using the 2 machineries. So first of all, I have to measure how much amount of machineries or how much amount of equipments are available with you. If 100 machineries are available, so I can easily manufacture that 1000 jobs in 1 day only. Therefore, for measuring the workforce or for measuring the number of machines, this work measurement plays very important role. Then to compare work method for the economic comparison. Economic means here we have to go for the overall efficiency or overall performance checking. Because at the end we have to go for the economic comparison. Whatever the number of tasks we are performing, because what happens if your manufacturing cost is increases, automatically your manufacturing time is also increases. If your manufacturing cost is increased, your manufacturing time is also increased. Therefore, as for the economic comparison also, this work measurement plays very important role. Then establish the wage incentives. Means the one worker is completing his job within time and another worker is not completing his time as per the time assigned to him. That means, once again that example, by using the lathe machine, what is my requirement? I have to complete that particular job in 2 hours only, but one worker is taking the extra 30 minutes to complete that particular job, and the another worker is completing his task before 15 minutes. Means the second worker is completing his time before 15 minutes. That means we have to give additional charges to that particular worker. But what about the first worker as he is taking the 30 minutes? So for such types of the workers, it is not possible to provide the additional charges because he has taken the 30 minutes extra. That means your manufacturing time is increases, your manufacturing cost is increases. But for a second worker, he has completed his time 15 minutes before. That means he has saved the manufacturing time, he has saved the manufacturing cost. So for such types of the workers, we have to give additional wages, additional incentives, so he can perform his next work in the effective manner. And last is called as to facilitate operation scheduling. Facilitate operation scheduling, whatever the number of operations we are performing, which operations we have to perform, because some of the operations who are taking the maximum time. Some operations they are taking the 30 minutes, 1 hour. Some operations can be performed immediately within 5 to 10 minutes. Therefore, the scheduling of the operations also can be carried out by using the work measurement. That means whatever the heavy operations are there, the heavy operations, those who are taking the extra time or maximum time, maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour. So such types of the operations can be scheduled at once And whatever the small operations are there, maybe champering operations, some small operations which are taking very less time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, that operation can be scheduled afterwards after performing the big operation. So these are the different types of the applications in which the concept of work measurement plays very important role. Okay, so these are the applications. Then where to apply the work measurement? Again, the repetitive points are there. Where to means, again, there are some applications are there. That is, first one is a work should be identifiable in terms of number of units produced by the worker. So wherever we have to go for checking the performance of the worker, wherever I have to go for the checking the performance of that particular worker, at that time this particular work measurement plays very important role. Therefore, work should be identified in terms of number of units produced. Number of units, or we can say that number of jobs. So one task is assigned to that particular worker in one day. How much jobs he has completed? Based on that, we can check the performance of that particular operator. And if I have to check its performance, I have to apply the work measurement concept. Then second, work should be performed in reasonable, consistent manner. Reasonable, consistent manner means whatever the task we are performing, whatever the job we are performing, that job should be some amount of output. Only it is not required that that worker has to complete his job, but whatever the work or whatever the job he is performing or whatever the object he is doing, that particular job or that particular work, there is no any value. Because sometimes some of the workers, they are performing number of jobs as per the given time, but whatever the job they are performing, that jobs are having some of the defects. It is not having proper surface finish. It is having some sharp edges. So whatever the output is coming from that particular machine or whatever the output is coming from that particular worker, it should be performed in reasonable, consistent manner. The task is assigned to complete the 50 jobs and he is completing near about 60 and 70. Means he has not performed his task in the reasonable manner. Extra 20 jobs he has performed, but each and every job is not having that much surface finish. That job is having some sharp edges. So output is not properly measurable. So whatever the task we are performing or whatever the work we are performing, it should be performed in reasonable, consistent manner. There should be some proper output. Therefore, in that case also the work measurement plays very important role. And third, volume of work should be justifiable to perform a study and keeping the records. So whatever the work we are performing, that work we have to give for that work, we have to give the justification. So whatever the output we have obtained, that output, it should be having some meaning, it should be having some amount of values, because at one side we are performing the job, we are creating the raw material into the finished goods, but whatever the finished goods we are having, that goods or that particular product is not, its performance is not good, or whatever the number of records we are keeping, that means for this particular raw material or for this particular job, this much amount of time is required. For the second job, this much amount of time is required. For the third job, this much amount of time is required. So such types of the records also we have to keep there. At that time also the work measurement plays very important role. That means we can say that here, if I have to check the performance of the worker, whatever the output is coming, whether that output is at reasonable level or not, or whatever the task we are performing to that particular task, how much amount of time is required, that record also we have to maintain under the concept of work measurement. That means in addition to that particular 6 applications, whatever we have discussed in the previous slide, that is, these are the 6 applications. In addition to that particular 6 applications, these are again 3 applications where we can apply the concept of work measurement for the another applications. Then this is the procedure. So in the previous slides also we have discussed about the work measurement procedure, that is the select. So if I have to go for the measurement of time for any method, so what is the first requirement? I have to select the method number 1. For example, some of the jobs are there that can be manufactured by using the number of process. For example, process number 1, process number 2, process number 3, and process number 4. So these are the 4 processes. Through these particular 4 processes, I can manufacture one job. That means one job. For example, this is one job is there. These jobs I can manufacture by using the process number 1, process number 2, process number 3, and process number 4. Okay. But in that, what happens? The process number 1 is taking the extra time. Process number 2, again it is taking extra time. Process number 3, again it is taking extra time. Process number 4, again it is taking extra time. That means for each and every process, it is having some disadvantages. But if I have to go for the modification of process 1, 2, 3, 4, so what we have to do? Out of this particular 4 methods, one method I have to select. Means the first procedure indicates that, or first step indicates that select. So I have to select that job, or I have to select that method where I have to go for the modification. If the process number 4 is taking the extra time to convert the raw material into the finished goods, I have to select the process number 4 for the further modification. Therefore, the first step is called as a select that particular method, select that particular job which we have to study. Then second is called as a record. So whatever the previous results are available for the process number 4, whatever we have selected, whatever the process we have selected for that particular modification, that process are having some previous results. That results also we have to record. Therefore, the second step is called as a record. Then we have to go for the examination. That means we have to go for the how we have to go for the modification, why we have to go for the modification, where we have to go for the modification, who is going to modify that particular method. That we are going to do in the examination process. That means from select, record, and examine. Here the modifications are taking place, and whatever the modified method is coming to that particular modified method, we have to go for measurement. That means from this particular step number 4, actually work measurement process is started. Step number 1, select, record, and examine. These steps are applicable for the methods reconcept, but these 3 steps plays very important role in case of a work measurement also. Because if I have to go for the measurement of the standard time, for that particular measurement of the standard time, if the method is not available, the process is not available, then how to go for the measurement? So for that purpose, first of all, we have to select one job, we have to select one method, and then we have to go for the measurement. Therefore, the step number 4 is called as a measurement of that particular method. And then compile. Compile means here we have to provide, whenever we are calculating the standard time can be calculated by compiling the time required for the operations and the time required for the different types of allowances. Because we are having the formula, standard time is equal to normal time plus allowance. Normal time is the time required to perform operation only. Means if I have to perform drilling, facing, gluing, threading, so measurement of this particular time it is called as a normal time. But while performing that particular operation, sometimes I have to change the tool, sometimes I have to change the coolant, sometimes I have to change the oil. So such types of the unavoidable or some necessary operations also we have to perform. That means we have to provide the allowance. That means normal time plus allowance is called as a standard time, and that particular process is called as a compile. Wherever I have to calculate the standard time can be calculated by considering normal time required to perform that particular operation. In addition to that particular normal time, some allowances should be provided. Maybe some relaxation allowance means if the operator wants to go for drinking the water, it will comes under the relaxation allowance. Fatigue. While performing the operation, if that particular operator is under fatigue, so at that time he has to take the rest. That means that fatigue allowance also we have to provide. Operator personal allowance. Maybe if we have to go for the drinking the water, if he has to go for the washrooms, if he has to perform his personal tasks, their personal needs also should be provided with this particular standard time. That means standard time is equal to normal time plus different types of allowances. And at the end, the last step is called as a define. So whatever the new method we have defined, and to that particular new method, whatever the standard time we have calculated, that new method we have to define. Maybe we have to represent that particular new method, modified method in front of management. Management will think about that particular method, whether that method is modified or not, or whether that new method is taking less time or more time. So that management will take the decision, and once the management will give the green signal, if we or that particular method, new method, we can implement for your further manufacturing. So like that, these are the different types of the or basic procedure of the work measurement which we have to implement. So select, record, and examine. This is applicable for the method study concept, but from measure, compile, and define, these are the remaining 3 steps which are plays very important role in the work measurement concept. Okay, so this is the procedure. Okay, so with this, today we will stop here. Maybe in the next lecture we are going to start with the different techniques. Which techniques are used in the work measurement concept, because in the last chapter, maybe in the method study, we have used the different types of charts, we have used the different types of diagrams. Similarly, in case of a work measurement also, we are using the different types of the techniques for the work measurement. That techniques we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so with this, today we will stop here. The remaining part we will take in the next lecture.